The desert does not hate you. It does not love you either. It simply does not care that you exist. When you are stranded in a vast sea of sand, your worst enemy isn't the heat, the sun, or the lack of water. It is the sudden, crushing realization of your own insignificance. You look in every direction, 360 degrees of absolute nothingness. The horizon is a perfect, uninterrupted line that traps you like a cage. Your brain, used to the constant noise of the modern world, suddenly faces a terrifying silence. A silence so loud you can hear the fluid moving inside your own ears. This is the story of psychological survival, a minute-by-minute breakdown of what happens to the human mind and body when it is stripped of everything and thrown into the void. Most people think they would fight. They think they would march heroically until they find civilization. But the desert has a way of breaking that arrogance within the first 2 hours. It begins with a simple choice, a choice that will either save your life or dictate exactly how and where you will die. Do you walk during the day, or do you wait for the freezing, unpredictable dark? Every second you hesitate, the sun is quietly drinking your life away. By hour 4, your body enters a state of panic that medical science calls acute thermal stress. The temperature around you hits 45 degrees Celsius. The air feels heavy, like you are inhaling the breath of a furnace. Your skin stops sweating because it simply cannot keep up. In a normal environment, water is cheap. It is a utility. In the desert, water is the only real currency, and your account is running out fast. You check your single water canteen. It is empty. You shake it, hoping for a sound, but there is only the mocking echo of dry metal. Your saliva thickens, turning into a sticky, bitter paste. Your tongue swells, pressing against your teeth, making it difficult to breathe through your mouth. Desperation forces you to look at alternative sources of moisture. You look at the sparse, thorny cactus plants scattered across the ridges. Hollywood told you that cutting open a cactus will yield a refreshing drink of sweet water. Hollywood lied. The fluid inside most desert cacti is a toxic, highly acidic milky sap. Drinking it will cause violent vomiting, forcing your body to eject the last remaining drops of water hidden deep inside your cells. The desert just tricked you into accelerating your own execution. Your mind begins to fracture under the physical betrayal, and then, as the sun finally begins to dip below the horizon, the real psychological horror movie begins. Hour 12. The transition from day to night in the desert is not gentle. It is a violent thermal whiplash. The scorching heat vanishes, replaced by a freezing, biting wind that drops the temperature towards 0. Your wet, sweat-soaked clothes now become an icy shroud. As hypothermia sets in alongside severe dehydration, your brain's occipital lobe begins to malfunction. It desperately tries to make sense of the empty darkness. This is the birth of the mirage, but it's not the classic movie trope of a shimmering blue lake with palm trees. It is far more personal and far more cruel. You look up and you see the unmistakable silhouette of your childhood home just 50 yards away. You can see the warm light pouring out of the kitchen window. You can hear the distinct voice of your mother calling your name, telling you that dinner is ready. The illusion is so perfect your hand reaches out to touch the doorknob. You run toward it. You spend the last remaining reserves of your adrenaline sprinting through the freezing sand. But no matter how fast you run, the house remains exactly 50 yards away. You are running on a treadmill of death designed by your own dying mind. A cruel biological trick to keep your heart pumping until the battery drains to absolute 0. When you finally trip and fall, your face hitting the freezing sand, the illusion vanishes. There is no house. There is no mother. Only the indifferent stars looking down like cold eyes. Hour 24. The sun returns. It does not offer warmth. It offers a final sentence of judgment. Your internal organs are now shutting down systematically, prioritizing the brain above all else. Your kidneys stop filtering. Your blood thickens like sludge, forcing your heart to work 4 times harder just to move it. You can no longer stand. Your legs are no longer levers of bone and muscle. They are just heavy weights anchoring you to the earth. You begin to crawl. It is a pathetic, instinctive movement, a biological machine refusing to admit that its fuel tank has been breached. Every inch you drag yourself forward, the sand beneath you shifts, erasing your tracks instantly. The desert is actively cleaning up after you, leaving no record that you ever walked across its face. Your vision tunnels. The edges of your sight fade into a heavy black vignette, leaving only a tiny circle of light in the center of your world. Inside that tiny circle of light, you see something small moving in the sand. A desert beetle. It is perfectly adapted, living its entire life in the very space face that is actively killing you. The beetle does not look at you. It walks over your outstretched hand as if you are nothing more than a temporary rock, a piece of geography that will soon disappear. This is the ultimate humiliation of survival. Nature isn't fighting you. It is simply ignoring you while you expire. Your brain makes one final desperate play to save your sanity. It releases a massive flood of endorphins, a chemical blanket to shield you from the pain of the end. Suddenly, the pain vanishes. The freezing wind feels warm. The dry, bleeding throat feels clear. You experience a profound, unnatural sense of peace. Psychologists call this terminal burrowing or paradoxical undressing. Your dying mind convinces you that you are perfectly safe at home, tucked into bed. With a smile on your face, you stop fighting, you stop moving. The biological machine quietly turns off its main switch. The survival story is over, but the desert's work is only half done. Over the next 48 hours, the wind will bury your white silhouette under a shifting blanket of dust and silica. The water that once made up 70% of your body will evaporate completely into the dry air, joining the infinite cycle of the arid atmosphere. You do not leave a corpse. You leave an island of calcium that will eventually shatter and become indistinguishable from the sand grains around it. Years from now, another explorer might walk across this exact same spot. They will look down at the sand, completely unaware that they are stepping on the physical remains of another human life. They will feel the same heat, hear the same roaring silence, and look at the same uncaring horizon. Because the desert is an infinite loop. It is a canvas where human stories are drawn in the sand, only to be wiped clean by the next gust of wind. We travel to these extreme places to find our limits, to test our mettle, to prove that we can conquer nature. But the desert always wins. The final unsettling question you must carry with you is simple. If you walked into the void tomorrow, how long would your sand clock run before turning into dust?